and he took one overnight bag and he left. We then, because we were under contract, had to continue working together for about 2.5 years, which was uncomfortable to say the least. And he just walked out of our home, and he would ask me to bring his things to our office. Can you bring me some shoes or some pants? It was crazy. It was crazy, and I was sick all the time and alone in this big house and not used to sleeping alone and really, really scared about my future. I knew he was seeing someone else. I knew she was half my age, literally, and that I was going to have to restart my whole entire life, and it was not what I had planned. And so I have been doing that. I sold the house. I started my website, which is also an app, which you can get on iTunes, leftat50.com. And then I started reaching out to other women, and I found out that my story was so similar to everybody else's story out there. And women started responding, and so many women have been left around the age of 50 and had to restart their lives, often because of infidelity. And it's taken me a little while to be the happy, smiling Diane that you are seeing today. It was a long, long journey. There was a lot of pain. When he first left, I thought, oh, he's just having a midlife crisis, right? And so, because he didn't take any of his belongings, he just left them. And so right before Valentine's Day, when he'd been gone about 7 months, I just said to him in a kind of dramatic way, it's going to be a Valentine's Day, and if you do not come and get all of your stuff out of this house, I will jump off the 3rd floor balcony. It sounds dramatic, I know, but it was the only thing I could think of to make him finally move out. I mean, his razor was still next to the sink. All of his clothes, all of his belongings, all of his even photographs of his own childhood. I just could not wake up and see all of his clothes hanging in the closet. For some reason, that was extremely difficult for me and made me very sad. As you can see, it still kind of does. But so he finally came and actually physically moved his stuff out. But then even after he moved into an apartment I had to find for him because he was freaking out, and he would still contact me. It was so strange. I don't know if anyone else has been in a long-term relationship and it's ended, but he actually texted me, "Where do I buy dishes?" And without even thinking, I immediately answered him like the good wife, even after him leaving me for someone younger. And then, of course, there was a time he got sick and wanted to know if there was a doctor I could find for him on a Sunday. And I finally just said, ask your fiance. And that was a big step for me, to stop playing that wife role. And that was one of the strangest parts of being left, was just automatically, answering his needs or his calls, so to speak, when he was so ugly and hateful in the way that he stepped out of our shared life. I know you wanted to hear a little bit about me. I'm originally from Chicago, and I moved out here to Los Angeles in 1989 with the dream of being a sitcom writer. And it took a while, and there were a lot of ups and downs, but I finally did sell a script. My very first job was on a show called Married with Children, which you may know. I think it's all over the world now. And then I worked my way up through some hit shows like the Drew Carey Show, and finally I got my own show with my ex called Still Standing. And that was really our dream come true. And it was a lot of work. It was on a major network called CBS here in America. And while our life dream was coming together, our personal life was falling apart. And I was literally too busy to recognize it, because it's quite a heavy load when you're the executive producer of a television show here in America. So I can see how some of that probably played a role in our relationship becoming more about work than about love. But when I first met Joey, I was 26 and he was 23. He was still living with his parents, and he wanted to move in with me. And I said, so ironic now, you guys, that if you move from your parents' house in with me, you will leave me someday, because you will never have lived on your own. And you will resent me for that. I had that intelligence to know that when I was 26. And so he did briefly get his own apartment, and for like 6 weeks. But it was something, and then he did move in with me. He couldn't wait to move in with me. And around our 10-year anniversary, I just said, I have one rule moving forward with you in our lives. If you ever cheat on me, you must tell me first, because we work together. And my nightmare was that everyone in the industry would know he was cheating, and I would be the wifey who didn't know. And for some reason, there was a huge nightmare in my mind that I did not want to happen. And that is exactly what happened 20 years later. And so again, maybe I'm psychic, but that's exactly the way it went down. And it was very embarrassing for me, of course. But, I just had to soldier on, and then eventually we parted ways permanently when our contract was up. And when we did that, our agent, we shared a literary agent, and he dropped me and kept him. I have not had an agent since, but again, I just keep moving forward. I'm thrilled that Left at 50 it started as a little website. Now it's an app, and it's everywhere, and I'm very proud of its content. People always ask me, what was your rock bottom? You know what my answer is? There's about 100,000 rock bottoms. So now, the topic here was stop shooting yourself. And I think when you have any kind of a life restart at any decade of your life, one of the traps I fell into was going, oh, well, this woman who is my age in my field has already accomplished this and I haven't. Shouldn't I be doing what she's doing? And what I learned from making all those comparisons is that if you should be doing something really in your heart of hearts, it's not a should. You'll be actually doing it. So for me, saying I should be doing this and doing that either springs me into action, like I just go do it, or I know I'm thinking about some fantasy life for myself that's only in my head, and what I think I should be doing, it might be wrong, because my head is not always right. So if I'm not in action, taking steps to actually accomplish what I think I should be doing, then it's not something I should be doing. And I need to change direction. And the other thing that I've learned is I'm a big list maker. So when I get those shoulds in my head, I can say, wait a minute, is that really what you should be doing? Because in my experience being part of a couple, when you take care of a man 24/7 for 24 years, I kind of always knew what I should be doing, right? There should be groceries in my refrigerator. Well, now I'm shopping for one. I should make sure this house is clean and the laundry is done and the dry cleaning's ready. Now that I live alone, that's not always the case. And there's a freedom in that I shouldn't be doing that and that I don't have to do that anymore. So as much as my story might seem sad, it's not, because I'm on a new life path and I know what I should be doing, and I've come up with tools. I have a toolbox that I can go to. If I'm having emotions, if I'm having self-doubt, I can pick up the phone, I can call somebody, I can write it down. I can call one of my good friends, Judy Mae Murphy, and we can talk it over. And I can reach out. I don't have to have all the answers in my head and do everything perfectly. I can just do the best that I can do and know that that's enough.
Thank you, Diane. That's such an powerful story, and really, I'm sure a lot of thoughts running through the audience. I'm enjoying watching their faces. Do you have any questions coming up? Would you like to ask something from Diane? Is there anything you would like to ask and would like to know? You can, if you want to ask, you can ask the questions in Finnish, and I can then translate them to English as well. One there on the back.
What was the biggest lesson about divorce? About being left?
What was there's a question. What was your biggest lesson about the divorce and being left?
The biggest lesson was it's not all my fault. I really blamed myself for committing the sin of turning 50, and it's ridiculous. I took a lot on, maybe I wasn't thin enough, maybe I let myself go, but he let himself go too. Everything that led to the breakup is equal, 50-50, because there were two people in the relationship. So when he first walked out that day, which was a really rough day, I completely blamed myself. I did not blame him. And so that would be definitely the biggest lesson, is don't go there. I mean, his actions definitely contributed to our breakup. He was cheating on me. How is that my fault? He could have come and said, Diane, I'm unhappy with the relationship. Let's go to therapy. I feel like I might cheat on you. And so he didn't. He chose not to do that. That was his choice, not to come to his partner of 24 years and be true. So I would say the biggest lesson is it's not your fault. It's a shared burden, and you knew that it was coming on some level. You knew for a long time, just like I did.
Yeah, it's actually, do you keep the questions coming in? But before I have to ask, when did you actually know? When did you? But now that you look back, it's easier to see when you knew already something's wrong.
Yeah, this is going to sound really stupid, but for about 2.5 years before he walked out, We worked together and we lived together. And so he started going to a comedy club called the Improv every Thursday night because he used to be a stand-up comic. So he originally said to me, you know, I just need a break from working. So I'm going to go from work straight to the Improv. So he would go to the Improv and turn his phone off, and I would go to sleep, and I would have one ear listening for the garage door to hear when he would come home. So he first started coming into the bed with me, right? But it would be like 2 or 2:30 a.m., which would wake me up. I have to be at work at 8:30 a.m. to edit. And then we start our regular work day at 10. So he started not coming to work with me because he was sleeping late, because he was getting in late. And we had a very large garage door. It was opening up and waking me up. So I said, you know, why are you out so late? The garage door is waking me up. So his solution was to not park his car in the garage, so I could not hear him come in. His other solution was to start sleeping in the guest bedroom downstairs. And I know now that when a man is cheating, that is one of the biggest clues, that they don't sleep in your bed, that they start having their own bedroom at night, which obviously affects your intimacy. And I know now that he was sleeping in that bed, not because he didn't want to wake me up, but because he had just been in bed with another woman. And he could not, on some psychological level, go from being in a bed with her to being in a bed with me. But I did not know that then. But boy, I know that now. And I think that, you know, that was just one of the most hurtful times, because on some level, I knew something was wrong. And I went to him and I said, something is wrong. I know something is wrong. Do you want to go to therapy? And you know, he would not look me in the eye. The other clue was he stopped looking me in the eye whenever I tried to have a real couple conversation with him. He would look everywhere but in my eyes. Yeah. And it was so painful. But I, on some level, once again put it on myself and thought, well, maybe he's just having a midlife crisis. And he's going to be with this woman, and then he's going to come back to me. Because, you know, I don't know what he's going to do. He's never had an affair before. I don't know what's going to happen. Some men do go out there, have a fling, and come back. Just the fact that he never moved any of his belongings out and that we were still working together kind of was a clue that on some level I was fooling myself that he was coming back. And then that first Valentine's Day, when it was quite clear all of his clothes were still in the closet, you know, like a week before Valentine's Day, I knew that he was never coming back. And I sent him an email and you know, said, it's like you died in a car accident. Can you please get your razor off of the sink and your clothes out of the closet? And this is so choice, you ladies. He finally did come and move, but you know, I had to mark everything with Post-it notes. So before he came, I had to go room to room, 24 years. I put what was in every single room in our house and emailed it to him and said, what things would you like to take from the living room, from the kitchen? What artwork is coming off the walls? And then he told me what he wanted. And the morning he was there, I put, the movers were coming really early, not Joey, my ex. And so I was thinking, right, I have to think, how are they going to know what to take? How did they know what was in the email from him? They don't know. And so I grabbed these purple and yellow Post-it notes, and everything that I put yellow on, they should take. It was going to be his, and everything that didn't have yellow on it had to stay. And, you know, to me, now looking back, that's pretty cowardly that he couldn't really even show up with the movers. but he finally showed up hours and hours and hours afterwards with big glassy eyeballs, and I left at that point, and I just said, text me when you're out. And he obviously, he looked like he'd been crying or something, because he had these big glassy eyes, and he could not speak in a full voice. He was whispering, and I kept saying, what? I was standing right in front of him. Again, he would not look me in the eye. And I was like, I can't hear what you're saying. What? And then, so I just said, all right, I'm going to the mall. I also had a friend with me. I had a friend spend the night before, so that he was a male friend, so he was with me when Joey and the movers finally did show up. I had someone there, because I didn't know how I was going to react. I've never been divorced before. It's never been packing day. It's all of our hopes and dreams and love. It's all moving out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now we can see that you get still emotional. But what would you think was the hardest part of the whole process, or what was the rock bottom that you?
I would say, my birthday and Christmas. Those first holidays were very. So sorry. They were difficult.
Oh, you should see the room. They are all here for you.
Thank you, ladies. I didn't expect the waterworks at all.
We have some tissues. We could offer them to you.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, you're such a strong woman, such a powerhouse. What would you now say, like what you've gone through? What would you say as an advice to the women in the room that how to remove the unnecessary stress from those kind of phases in your life when there is a huge change?
Well, I eventually saw the flip side of the coin, and that was like, wow, I don't have to run anything by him. If I want to jump in the car and drive to Vegas or something, I can just do it. One of the big things for me as a writer, I sit and type a lot, and I found a dance aerobics class that I loved, and in that class I met a whole new group of gals that were in my age group, that weren't anything to do with television writing or the entertainment business. And so I've made a lot of new girlfriends through this class that I've been doing for 4 years. Plus, I've gotten in really good shape, and I have a new social circle, and I go to a lot of women's events in my field. I've joined a lot of organizations, because one of the things is you do lose half your friends. You don't hear from them anymore. They, have decided to stay friends with him and be in his circle. And that's kind of shocking and painful sometimes, but I'm completely over it now. And in some ways that was a gift, because it drove me to go out and meet new people. And there's a bunch of wonderful, wonderful ladies in my life now. And, I can laugh in a new way and share in a new way. And I go out and meet a lot of professional women in my field and in other fields. And so it's really opened up my life in ways that I could not see on that day.
Yeah. So also to take a look at the other side, that knowing that in the depths of the sorrow that you have, there is the other side of the story as well.
I still what? The other side of the story?
So there is still the flip side of the story in the moment, that as sad as you feel in the moment, then you know that as the time passes, there is this flip side that it's going to turn out to be kind of, because now if you say, wouldn't it be the best thing that happened to you?
It is definitely the best thing that happened to me. In big ways and small. One of the small ways is I have a dog now, a cute little rescue dog, and he was allergic to dogs, so it was a quarter of a century with no pets. And that's a very joyful thing, as I'm sure many of you know. And I can do whatever I want, I can go whatever I want, I can eat whatever I want, and I don't have to think about, oh, he doesn't like it, or, he won't eat this or that. And so it's kind of funny, but a whole new world of food opened up. I'm sure husbands and boyfriends are kind of like big children sometimes, and they want to eat what they want to eat, and you end up eating what they eat. So there's not 2 grocery shopping lists, right? That would be crazy. And so now, I don't have any of that, and I'm just taking care of me instead of taking care of him. I'm first. He's not first.
That's great. Would you have questions coming up? Yeah?
Business question.
Yeah.
Because the TV show that you had, you started together, and now you started your own website and app. What would you say is the difference between starting with another partner, and especially when this partner is your husband, versus starting something that is only yours?
Yes.
Did you hear the question?
I did hear what is different partnering with my husband as opposed to now doing everything on my own.
Yes.
The big thing is when I have an idea, I just do it. I don't say, hey, so-and-so, what do you think about this? I don't have to say, even something as simple as, what movie do you want to see? Or what do you want to eat? Or what do you think of this joke? Or our outline for this script? Or this actor? Or this director? Or any of that. There's no running things by anybody. And at first, that was a little freaky when I realized, I was sick in the middle of the night the first year I was left. And I was alone in this big house. And I was really sick. And there was nobody to take care of me but me. And so that was kind of scary. Now, I'm over it. Now I know I can totally take care of myself, because that to me was part of the loss and part of the fear of starting over. Was like, who's going to take care of me? What's going to happen if something happens? And I'm a mature adult. I know how to take care of myself. And there's no strings attached to anything that I do now, right? I'm not forcing somebody to go see some movie and then I have to see some other movie or things like that. So it's everything from the mundane, everyday stuff to the big life stuff, the really, really big life stuff.
Yeah. Other questions? Yeah?
I just have a question. How did you find the strength and the motivation to keep working with him for 2.5 years when you have this problematic?
Well, it's weird. You're comfortable with what you know, and it was the only person I've ever worked with my entire adult life, basically, once we got into show business. So it was very strange, because sometimes, I was bringing him clothes that he asked for and stuff, which was, P.S., so above and beyond. Like, if I had to do that over, I would never, ever bring him anything that he asked for, ever. But that was kind of, it was very awkward because he would obviously have to speak with his girlfriend, and we shared an office. So he would get up and take those phone calls somewhere else. And we would work separately and write separately and then do everything over the internet and email, which was not ideal. And then I sat in a writer's room with him, 10, 12 hours a day. And that was, I learned to compartmentalize that part of my life because I could not function. I needed to be professional because everyone knew what was going on. Everyone in that room knew exactly what was going on because it had been gossip throughout the industry for a while. And you know, I wanted to just show everybody that I was together because he seemed to be so together, even though inside now I know he seriously was not together. But it was very awkward, and when he would, you know, do or say something that was kind of rough or hurtful or, you know, just too dirty or inappropriate or, you know, acting like one of the guys, which happens in sitcom writing rooms, especially when you're the only woman, I would just leave the room. I would protect myself. I don't have to sit here and listen to him say, you know, things that are hurtful to me, even though it appears he's just making a joke. And I could give you an example of something if you want.
Yeah, sure. We do want.
Okay, get ready. I was working on a show after we'd split up, and it was all men and Diane. And you know, men, we have a TV set, a screen in the room that we write on, but that is also connected to the internet and things of that nature. So I came in one day at like 8:15 in the morning, and can I use somewhat rough language because this is what really happened?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
All right, so I walk into the writing room, and he's there with all the men, other married men with wives and children at home, and they are watching a woman called Tila Tequila, something like that. Tia Tequila, I think her name is. She's kind of has her own site. The camera's always on her, and she's like a porn woman. And I walk in, and you know what is on the screen is kind of Tila with her legs open, and then she's doing something with a man. And my partner stands right next to me and goes, "Oh yeah, F that pussy." It's 8:15. They're all watching porn. And he, with me in the room, who is this man, I don't know this person, is watching porn and saying F that pussy.
Yeah.
What? I mean,
Yeah.
what? Who is this person? What is going on? So I walked out, of course, and stayed out for a while. But you know, it hurt me. First I was shocked, but then it's a bunch of guys, grown men, whatever. I've been in writing rooms for a long time. I've seen a lot of porn star women, but never. Yeah, at work. I'm so sorry to tell you, some of your husbands are, no surprises, I'm sure, but, and so, you know, it was so disrespectful, you know, not only because I'd been with him, but because he had cheated on me and left me, and we were at work, and I was standing right next to him, and he was being so crude, and I just could not believe it. And so I thought, this is kind of funny, but this is what he's doing in his new apartment. He is watching porn, I bet. Because now that I can do whatever I want to do, what's a man gonna do? He's gonna watch Tila Tequila or whatever her name is, right? So it's like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. He can watch as much porn as he wants now. Good for him. But he shouldn't do it in front of me, and he shouldn't do it at work. So I got a little glimpse into his new life.
Okay.
Oh.
That was funny story. Oh, unbelievable. Do you have any other questions coming up? What more do you want to know? Yeah.
How fast can you take you to start your own business? Like a food or food, just when you were able to start your own
Did you hear?
totally the same situation as you have been.
Did you hear the question?
No.
Yeah, she asked like, how long did it take for you to after you divorced? How long did it take for you to kind of get active with your own life and back in the action again? And how long did it take for you to just recover?
It took about a year to really recover, and no, I would say about 15 months. And what I decided to do was throw myself a party for my 51st birthday. And so I was still in the big house that we shared. And I'm like, I'm going to have one last blowout and enjoy this beautiful, amazing house. So I emailed out invitations. I booked a caterer, professional caterer, and I invited 70 people. And it was a formal thing. It was on a Saturday night. I hired a bartender to mix cocktails and a woman to walk around with cocktails. And I enjoyed my big, huge dining room for the last time with the long dining room table that sat 12 people. And it was covered in all kinds of delicious food. And there was music playing. And my home had a fire pit outside in the back. And everyone sat around the fire pit drinking and eating and laughing and listening to music. And then I bought myself a huge cake in the shape of a teapot. It was a custom-made cake that I designed for my birthday. It was beautiful, and everybody sang happy birthday, and it was red velvet with buttercream frosting, because that's my favorite cake, red velvet. And so one of my best girlfriends flew in from Iowa, and another one of my best male friends flew in from the state of Washington. And they spent a couple nights with me, and then they were there, and they presented me with my cake, and everyone sang. And I got my hair all done professionally. I got it blow dried out and full makeup, and I bought myself a really cute dress, and I threw myself a party. How's that for a first step?
Oh, that sounds great. Just keep your question in your mind. Just how long did it take for you to start your new business then?
I started writing things for myself about 6 months in, and then I would say about 9 months in, I went on GoDaddy and I took a tutorial and I learned how to set up the site myself. And then you do a domain search, and so you have to come up with a name. And that was when I came up with leftat50.com. It just popped into my head. And so I searched. It was very exciting because then you have to search. Nobody else had that name, totally available. And so I bought that name. I set up the domain all by myself on WordPress. And I got lost a few times, and so I had to actually call them on the phone. A very nice gentleman at like 12:30 a.m. stayed on the phone with me for 45 minutes. And at 1:15 a.m. it launched. And so that was very exciting. And that was a big first step to start sharing my story, because that took away the shame. You know, I felt a lot of shame. And it seems silly now, but it's part of it. It's definitely part of it. And so when I started realizing other women, I started hearing about all these other women who were left at 50 or on or around the age of 50. But specifically, there were even celebrity couples that were breaking up and the wife was 50. I was like, this is weird. This is out there. This is happening. I'm going to lead the way. Why not? Why shouldn't I? I'm not going to should myself out of it. There's no reason I should not have left at 50.com. One of my fears was that he was going to see it. What if he sued me? What's going to happen? And I actually did talk to an attorney friend, and it's like, what? If you don't mention him by name, just do whatever you want. And that was when I realized Left at 50 was not about him. And it was never going to be about him. It was going to be about us. All of us ladies. And me. We're all on the same path. And that's what I've always focused on in every part of the site, is that it's about us. It's about moving forward. It's about starting your life again, and the freedom that comes with that, and all of the positivity, all the big life changes that don't have to be scary. And so a lot of stuff fell away. It's been very cathartic, and it's something I so enjoy and look forward to doing literally every day of my life. And it's taken over my brain, right? I'm always thinking of some way to reach out to the ladies that follow me and either make them laugh or make them aware of something, some insight that I've discovered moving forward. Because it's a big, huge learning curve, but that's okay. It's good to learn new things.
Yeah, thank you. So just a couple of months. Okay. Oh, so we don't have not question anymore. Did you get your answer? Okay. So anybody else? You still have questions? Well, you can find Diane at leftat50.com and follow her. She is doing an amazing job. I really enjoy your Diane Does videos where you go, you share and you do, and you really make it so easy to just think about, like, okay, what do I want, and make it. It doesn't have to be a big thing, just a small thing, and make it fun. So I really enjoy those videos.
And all my content is on my app as well. So, and you can get that for free.
And I told you how when somebody goes to your website, the app is right there, so you can download it from there.
No, it's on iTunes.
Okay, iTunes. Okay. All right. So you can find the Left at 50 app at iTunes. All right.
And on my site, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest. I'm everywhere. You can't miss me if you put in Diane Burroughs or you put in Left at 50. You'll find me.
And I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot about you in the future as well.
Yes, you will.
And I know that you attended, just quickly before I let you go, I know that you attended the Women's March in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
And that was a huge thing as well. So could we have not right now, but if you could send me the so I can share one clip of yours that
I'd love
made.
to. I'd love to. I filmed it. I'm editing a documentary that's also going to be put out very soon. And yes, I will definitely send you a clip. It was quite life-changing to be there with all those hundreds of thousands of women. And then there were women all over the world. So that was a big, big step for me to hop on a plane and go to Washington, D.C. and march. I've never marched like that. I'm not one of those people. Well, I'm one of those people now.
So again, something new that you tried, and you
big time, yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Diane, for taking this time, and thank you for letting us to be part of your breakfast today.
Thank you.
A lot of love and support we're sending your way, and we can't wait to see and hear even more about you in the future. So thank you so much, and we'll chat later again. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I just did a Skype with an event in Finland called Fun and Fearless. It was an event for women, and it went really well. It was exciting to reach out to women in another country and share my story. And it's early in the morning, and it was a great way to start my day. And I got a lot of questions. I got a little emotional at some point, but I shared my feelings. I was really, really honest, and they seemed very interested and appreciative of what I had to say. And I look forward to reaching out to more women in every way that I can.